This video is sponsored by Artlist. This is the Sony FX3. One thing that makes the Sony FX3 and FX30 so popular is that you can rig it out into any number of configurations. I've made multiple videos highlighting different ways that I've rigged my FX3, but some of you have complained that the components are too expensive, the rig is too big, or you just want something that's a little bit less intense. So now we have the Minimalist run and gun rig for the FX3. Let's get into it. Sorry for being nasally. I am sick, but we're gonna power through this video. For this rig build and any of my rig builds, I want to approach it with a few core principles. For this one in particular, the principles are that it should be super light and small, easy to break down without the use of any tools, and easy to pack in a normal camera bag. It should look sleek without kind of having any of those cables dangling all over the place. And I want to be able to set it down on a flat surface without it tipping over. Like all of my previous builds, the core of this rig is the small rig cage. There's a lot of cages out there, but I've gone with a small rig because it gives the most modularity, it gives access to all the FX3's buttons, and it doesn't block any of the tally lights. Of all the cages out there, it also fits best in the hand when operating the main grip of the camera, which is particularly important for this rig, and we'll see why in just a second. I've also attached the included NATO top rail. With or without the NATO rail, this cage lives on my FX3 at all times. Now, at the core of the rig is the compact V-mount battery plate from Small Rig. This is a super small V-mount plate that slides onto the Arca Swiss that is built into the Small Rig cage that we just installed. It slides on and locks into place with this little lever. Now we can attach your V-mount battery, and I'll talk about which V-mount battery I use in just a second, but you might be thinking, wait, how do I access the FX3 screen? Well, we can twist this little knob on the left and we can flip down the battery and open up the flip screen and then flip the battery back into place and lock it down with that same screw thingy. One thing I love about this battery plate is that the release for the V-mount doesn't get in the way of the screen, meaning you can tuck back the screen next to the battery while still having access to the screen itself. Now, as we're building out this sexy little rig, I want to mention that the rig itself is only half the battle. You can have the best video quality there is, but your films and videos are going to fall flat unless you haven't also focused on your audio, which is why I'm stoked about this video's sponsor, Artlist. I've tried just about every stock music solution under the sun, and let me tell you, Artlist is far and away the best. Artlist offers access to unlimited downloads of over 22,000 quality songs and 27,000 sound effects that are updated daily. Songs are categorized and curated by moods, genres, video themes, and instrumentals, and it's super quick and easy to find a dope track, find some perfect sound effects for your sound design, and get back to the important thing, creating. They've got subscriptions for all types of creators, including a pro subscription that includes licensing for use for client projects, which is gonna come in handy once you're raking in all those client projects, thanks to your sick new FX3 rig we're working on. But even better, if you pop over to the link in the description, you get 2 free months, which is way too good to pass up. So pop over to the link in the description and get yourself some epic music to power your videos. Speaking of power, to power this rig, I'm using the Small Rig VB99 V-mount battery. In my experience, this is the best V-mount battery out there right now. It's super sleek, charges via USB-C, has a really high quality LED display, and has a ton of I/O to power anything you can think of. I know there are a lot of other cheaper V-mount batteries out there, but the I/O options that are on the Small Rig are really what are gonna help this rig shine, and we'll see why in just a minute. If you want a slightly cheaper option, there is the normal VB99 or the VB50, all of which are great options, and I'll link to those in the description. On the top of the NATO rail is where I mount my monitor. I have this Condor Blue monitor mount that uses a 3/8 with RE pin on one side and a NATO clamp on the other side. So then I'll thread that into the NATO rail, which you can do by hand or you can tighten it down if needed. And then I use this Condor Blue monitor NATO rail to attach the monitor to the clamp itself. It comes with these little inserts to prevent the rail from coming loose, because ensuring everything is perfectly solid is one of the core tenets of this build. But you're still able to use the NATO rail to quickly remove the monitor and pack it down very quickly. For my monitor, I'm using the Hollyland Mars M1 Enhance, which I've chosen for 3 reasons. First, it's got 1000 nits of brightness, allowing for monitoring outdoors, which is where I'm doing the most of my filming. It also has one of the better UIs of any of the monitors that I've tested. It has all the features that you want from a monitor these days, like waveforms and peaking and false color, but it has a really simple user interface that's very easy to use. I also really like the way that the display handles aspect markers. I almost always have mine set to a 9:16 aspect ratio markers, and then 70% transparency on the side. This makes it really easy to film both horizontal and vertical content because, you know, that's just one of the things you have to do these days. Now, if we could just get Sony to release a camera that has open gate, that'd be great. I do still have one major qualm with this monitor, however, and that's that there's no vertical or horizontal flip, just an 180-degree rotation, meaning if you want to turn it to yourself, it means that it's going to be mirrored, which is just very confusing. Maybe you have a different monitor that you really like, and you can let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, check to make sure you're already subscribed. That'd be sweet. For lenses, I'm almost always either using the Sony 24-70 or 16-35 G Master Mark II. I've explained why these two lenses never leave my camera bag in a previous video, so I'll link to that up here rather than rehashing that here all again. And then for a filter system, I'm now usually using the Polar Pro Helix Maglock system. Should I be using a matte box? Definitely. And in the past, I was using the Recon system, but it's honestly really hard to beat the ease of use of the Helix Maglocks. And since the whole purpose of this rig build is to be really nimble and lightweight, I really think that the Helix system is just kind of hard to be topped. Okay, so let's talk cables. To power the monitor, I'm using the Condor Blue D-Tap to DC connection. To keep the cable from flapping around, I just kind of loop it around the monitor mount before connecting it. And then the monitor is connected to the camera with a right angle HDMI cable, also from Condor Blue. There's obviously some other really good options out there, but Condor Blue makes some really great stuff, and the length and position of this particular cable is perfect for pairing with this monitor. And I kind of dig the blue accents. To power the camera, I keep a Sony battery inserted into the camera, and then I use a right angle USB-C adapter to connect a USB-C cable directly from the V-mount battery into the camera directly. Now you can kind of see why having this much I/O on the battery becomes so important. I've tried a few other options such as a D-Tap to dummy battery, but this causes the dreaded Sony battery warning. Maybe it's actually unsafe. Maybe this is just Sony nudging us towards their more expensive first-party batteries. I'll let you decide how tight your tinfoil hat is, and you can choose that for yourself. One thing we're still missing is audio. Most of the time, I'm recording externally with the DJI Mic 2, which is easily attached to the cold shoe on the small rig cage. Now, one issue you might find with the DJI Mic 2 is that it falls out of the cold shoe. Quick fix, just take a little small square of gaff tape and stick it right in there. That'll create just enough friction to keep the receiver in place. Is it silly that we need to use gaff tape to tape a $350 microphone to make it work? Absolutely, but if you're not using gaff tape on set, are you really even like on set? There's obviously plenty of other mic options out there based on your needs, but all of those could quickly fit in the same cold shoe. Any additional audio you need, you're gonna get from Artlist anyways, so you're golden. Slap all of this together and you've got the perfect combo for a run and gun solo setup. It's literally so easy to break down and toss into your normal camera bag, so you're not lugging around a big Pelican case, and you don't have to carry around a bunch of Allen keys either. So if you like this rig, everything that I talked about here will be linked in the description. Be sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.